The Toronto Raptors have robbed the NBA once again, as another undrafted free agent signing for this organization is really taking advantage of his opportunities and making life very tough on the coaching staff in terms of how they decide to distribute minutes. So we'll discuss that, including another game winner happening against in a preseason game against the Washington Wizards, and the Raptors showing more fire, showing more fight entering this NBA season. So lots of stuff to dive into in this video, but folks, you guys have been crushing with the support as of late. Appreciate every single one. If you don't want to miss a single thing that's going on with this Toronto Raptors team as we lead into a very exciting Raptors season, you're part of the 53% have not hit the subscribe button just yet. Make sure you guys hit that sub button because we have so much stuff to be excited about for this upcoming Raptors season. And the Jays are in the playoffs now. Things are coming together for Toronto sports. But let's dive into the news because we got a lot of things to dive into, specifically Chucky Hepburn, because I want the focus list to be about this man, because there's a lot of hype, a lot of excitement about the rookie class that were coming in. Elijah Martin, CMB. We had 4 rookies last season. Lots of guys. Jacoby Walter, Jamison Battle, Jamal Shead, Jonathan Mobo. There are so many young players with high upside out here on this Raptors roster. So undrafted free agent coming in, had a solid preseason, summer league. And, there wasn't much chatter, wasn't much buzz about Chucky Hepburn. Even after these couple of games, I feel like it's still being not talked about enough, the impact that he's actually having out here in these games. But Chucky Hepburn, man, has looked very, very good over the course of preseason. And we take a look at his stats in terms of what he's been doing out there on the basketball court. And you see it as he's gotten more minutes, as he's gotten more opportunities. Heck, even last night, only played 11 minutes against the Wizards, had 12 points in that one and shot 4 for 6 in the field, knocked down 3 3-point shots. And, of course, we talked about in the post game the other day, but 13 points against the Boston Celtics, 8 assists, 4 steals. And yes, all that's well and good. He's knocking down his 3-point shots. He's in a rhythm. He's proving that not only is he able to knock down 3-point shots, but he's able to get them off. And he's extremely confident getting those shots off, whether it be off the dribble, whether it be, stand up, whatever the heck it is. And that's all positive. That's all well and good. But we're also getting quotes about his mentality. And I absolutely love to see how he's approaching this, preseason, summer league, all that stuff, heading into this year. And basically he came out and said that, oh, it's so competitive. I remember watching Jamal Shead his senior year at Houston, and going into my senior year, coaches talked to me about, hey, that's a standard, go play like that. And he went on to say that go play like Jamal Shead. And if you're going to earn yourself an opportunity at the highest level, and ultimately that's what I did. And now I'm able to come play against Jamal Shead and guys like Elijah Martin, who just won a national championship. And it's a blessing to be able to come in with an organization and play behind and play with guys like that. So, Chucky Hepburn is a guy that's coming in, loving the competition, loving the, opportunity that he has. And he looks up to Jamal Shead, who I have been open about. I am a big Jamal Shead guy. I'm a Shead head. I love what this man is able to do out there on the basketball court in terms of leadership, in terms of defensive instincts, and really just managing this Raptors roster. And I've discussed, because we've taken a look at the roster, we've taken a look at this, kind of unit that they have out there right now. And Immanuel Quickley, yes, he's a scoring guard. He knocks down 3-point shots, and he can facilitate, of course. Scottie Barnes played point guard in college, can facilitate, but really Jamal Shead right now is the only natural point guard on the roster. Feels like a leader. That feels like he can get the troops together. Now, of course, Chucky Hepburn had a bunch of assists in the game against Celtics, did some facilitating, but you want to see a little bit more in terms of giving him that leash. But one thing that he has really, taken from Jamal Shead is the peskiness defensively, the intensity that he plays with out there on the basketball court. And the one thing about it is also he's a much better shooter than Jamal Shead is right now, at least in the sample size that we've seen, and definitely in the confidence of the jump shots that he's taken up. Chucky Hepburn is a guy that really just has no fear in terms of where he's shooting the basketball, where he's able to let it fly with minis, whatever it is. He is absolutely just microwave out there off the bench. And we see it, again, comparing their stats to this one, got a similar amount of minutes in this. Jamal Shead went 1 for 6, knocked down 5 free throws, had 4 assists, and did have 5 fouls, but one game, so we're not gonna do these comparisons. But this is where things get very, very tough for head coach Darko Rajaković in terms of the decision making for who's going to get what minutes out there on this this group because, looking at it, of course, you have the point guard battle with Immanuel Quickley, Jamal Shead, Chucky Hepburn, the natural sort of guys that are listed out there as point guards. But, Hepburn, these guys can be playing the 2-guard position, and that position is also extremely loaded with RJ Barrett, Gradey Dick, Jakob Poeltl, 3 guys that are expected to be in the rotation for this team this season, out there fighting for those types of minutes. And then, heck, even Ochai Agbaji, James Abel, those guys can slide down that spot. AJ Lawson, all players that are out there in the mix competing for these minutes, and not just Elijah Martin there. So it's a situation where the Raptors will, especially if Hepburn continues to play at this level out there in preseason and the scant opportunities he's going to get over the course of this regular season, it's going to be very, very tough for Darko to, keep this guy out there on the bench when he's playing this level defensively and when he's out there doing this type of stuff. And Darko has come out and spoken on Chucky Hepburn, saying that wherever the ball was, he was there. He was active. He was able to come up with the deflections and steals, and that's how we want to play. We want to be ultra disruptive and to have ball pressure, and that kind of applies for every single player on the team. There's expectation from everyone to play that way, and that's what you want to see from your group. That's what you want to see from your best players, from your guys that are fighting for the minutes. You want to see them playing with the mantra that the coach is instilling out there in the team. And the fact that we're seeing this from the entire group, the Raptors are playing with a ton of grit, playing with a ton of intensity, able to come out and get some big wins out there in preseason. That is very, very positive. Of course, the win-loss column will be more important as we actually get to the regular season, but we'll see how things shake out there. But speaking of this game, the Raptors did end up beating the Washington Wizards once again by a game-winning last second bucket by Olivier Zar. So congrats to him. 4 points in this one, 18 minutes. But Darko Rajaković specifically drawing up another game-winning play. But there was a lot of interesting things that ended up happening in this one. Of course, Scottie Barnes, his shot selection is still feeling a little bit weird, settling for a lot of stuff. I'd like for him to be more aggressive, but did have 10 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists out there in this game. And of course, Scottie, I'm not too worried about him in preseason. We've seen the top guys in Raptors. Everyone used to say, oh, the sky's falling when we'd watch Lowry and DeMar and these dudes play out there in preseason. So I'm not too worried about Scottie Barnes right now. But of course, Darko Rajaković is going to have to put Scottie Barnes in a lot better positions to score if this team wants to go places. Of course, we have a lot more scoring now with Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett's looking really good, but we'll see how things play out there at that front. But other than that, in terms of the lineups, RJ Barrett looked solid again, like for him to be a bit more efficient, but that is what it is. IQ at least had 5 threes tonight. One of his better performances in preseason, but again, not super efficient from our backcourt there from Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett against a team in the Washington Wizards that wouldn't be regarded as an elite defensive team by any stretch of the imagination. So that's something to look at. Sandro ended up starting at center and had 8 points, 9 rebounds. That's what you want to see, a little bit undersized. It feels like just visually out there on the court. But, he's getting boards. He's doing his thing. Looks better than expected, better than advertised defensively. So that's a positive. And then we also have the battle, between right now, Jakob Poeltl as well as Gradey Dick. And Jakob Poeltl ended up getting the start for the Raptors in this game, of course, with Brandon Ingram out. And he had an interesting performance because, again, knocked down his shots, which is a positive there. If we take a look at it and, knocked at 3 shots. Sorry, I'm the stats. I recall that 1-3, but had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals in this one. Was a plus 14 from the game. Had 5 fouls. Just not the most encouraging outing, from Jacoby out there at this point. At 10 points, whatever. Gradey Dick off the bench. 18 minutes, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line, 8 points. 2 of 5 from the field. Didn't do too much else out there in the box score wise, for the squad. But it's going to be a continuous battle, and Jakob Poeltl is going to need to. It's tough, right? Because even now with Chucky Hepburn sneaking his way out there for minutes. Darko Rajaković, it's getting tougher and tougher for, some of these guys we expect to be in the rotation, expect to get this run, to be guaranteed those consistent minutes out there in this game. So, that's something to definitely take a look at. Hepburn was great. Jonathan Mobo bringing the intensity defensively, even if the box score didn't really show it. The Raptors, they just played with a ton of grip. James Battle also had some shots, had some nice cuts in this game. So it's going to be fun to see this team, how they actually look when the games matter and the win-losses matter and, things shake out there. But all I can say is I'm fairly encouraged by the things that we've been seeing out there in preseason. And of course, we'll see how things play out during this game. I mean, we had a handle on this game for most of the outing. See the Raptors in black, the Wizards in red in terms of point differential, but they were able to get the win. A lot more minis taken in this game as well. So interesting stuff on the shot chart. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section down below. How you feeling about this Raptors game? Let me know. Anyways, I'm signing out.